वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा रास बिहारी राधे राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा माधव राधे Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gopal Deva Gopal Deva Gopal Deva Jaya Gopal Deva Jaya Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi Jaya Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Jaya Panduranga Vithala Hari Hari Bol Panduranga Vithala Hari Hari Bol Jaya Narsimhadev 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 Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Shat Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara Shat Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shripad Gurudev Jaya Jaya Shripad Jai Bolo Yug Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai पतित पावन शिला प्रभुपाद की जय पतित पावन शिला गुरुदेव की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी हरे कृष्णा. So we'll continue our reading and discussions from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 6, Chapter 18. So today we will cover verses 35, 36 and 37. So we'll start with verse 35. Tasmat pati vrata narya
तस्मात् पतिव्रता नार्या
shreyas kamaha sumadhyame
श्रेयस्कामः सुमध्यमे
yajanti ananya bhavena
यजन्ते अनन्यभावेन
Patim Atmanam Ishwaram.
पतिम् आत्मानमीश्वरम्.
We'll go to translation by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear wife, whose body is so beautiful, your waist being thin, a conscientious wife should be chaste and should abide by the orders of her husband. She should very devoutly worship her husband as a representative of Vasudev. Let's go to next text also, verse number 36. Soham tvayarchito bhadre
सोऽहं त्वयार्चितो भद्रे
idrik bhavena bhaktitah
इदृग्भावेन भक्तितः
tam te sampadaye kamam
तं ते सम्पादये कामम्
asattinam sudurlabham.
असतीनां सुदुर्लभम्.
Translation. My dear gentle wife, because you have worshipped me with great devotion, considering me as a representative of Supreme Personal of Godhead, I shall reward you by fulfilling your desires, which are unobtainable for an unchaste wife. There's no purport, so we go to the next verse, verse number 37. Next verse, Prabhu. 37.
Yes, brother. It
Yeah.
is loading.
Okay. Yeah. Verse 37. Ditiruvacha
Ditiruvacha
Varado yadi me Brahman
Varado yadi me Brahman
Putram Indrahanam Vrine
Putram Indrahanam Rine
Amrityum Mrita Putraham
Amrityam Rita Putraham
Yena me Gatito Sutau.
Yena me Gatitau Sutau.
Translation. Diti replied, O my husband, O great soul, I have now lost my sons. If you want to give me a benediction, I ask you for an immortal son who can kill Indra. I pray for this because Indra, with the help of Vishnu, has killed my two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Now there is purport. So let's read the purport also, Prabhu. The word Indrahanam means that one who can kill Indra, but it also means one who follows Indra. The word Amrityum refers to the demigods who do not like to die like ordinary human beings because they have extremely long durations of life. For example, the duration of Lord Brahma's life is stated in Bhagavad Gita as Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Vidu. Even the duration of one day or 12 hours of Brahma is 4.3 million years multiplied by 1000. Thus, the duration of his life is inconceivable for an ordinary human being. The demigods are therefore sometimes called Amara, which means one who has no death. In this material world, however, everyone has to die. Therefore, the word Amrityum indicates that Diti wanted a son who would be equal in status to the demigods. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhueva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodara Swami Niti Namini. Namasad Bhakta Mani Manipur Udbhavaya cha Srila Prabhupada Lasatavani Pracharini Ratayate. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaye Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinim Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So we'll continue this discussion on the sixth canto, 18th chapter, verses from 35 to 37. Before that, I wanted to thank BI for giving me this opportunity today to serve all of you, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Maharajas on this call. And I request for blessings from all, and please pray for me that I'm able to do justice to the task that is assigned to me by BI. So, from these three verses, sorry, as we understand that a wife is generally addressed as the better half of the man. When you don't come across a man being addressed as a better half of the wife, whereas the wife is always addressed as a better half. So one of the main considerations for this is the factor of beauty. Wife is normally very beautiful, so therefore she is universally referred to as better half of the man. Now it is said that if the wife is chaste, then her beauty increases further, because this is an ornament of a good wife, to be shy and chaste. So chasteness is one of the important criteria. And further, if she is able to abide to the orders of her good husband, then her beauty is bound to increase still much more. And finally, if she is coming to a stage of worshipping her husband, worshipping in relation to her husband being the representative of the Lord Vasudev, then her beauty will increase several folds. So this is what actually keeps on magnifying the beauty. But of course, in the present generation, in the typical materialistic behavior, it's very hard to face this kind of situation, because in the present world, since both husband and wife they treat each other on equal terms, because both of them work. So therefore, there is no question of wife taking a subordinate position of the husband. On the contrary, we find sometimes it's the other way around. So Diti had all these good qualities in terms of being quite obedient to Kashyapa Muni. Her good husband was a very powerful Muni, and also she was worshipping him as a representative of Vasudev. And there's a description here of her external features also in verse 35. So which means she was really beautiful. So she automatically, qualifies to be called as a Dharma Patni. So Dharma Patni means Dharma ka palan karna, wife who's following the virtues of the Dharma. And such a Pati is also called as Pati Parmeshwar. Parmeshwar meaning Vasudev. So he is a representative of Vasudev. Sometimes he is also called as Pati Guru. That means he is like a guru for his wife. So she takes guidance from him on all matters, and as a result, they continue to live happily, forever. Now, it is noticed, even in the material world, we are seeing that when a husband and wife are living happily and harmoniously for a very, very long time, like I have personally seen, husband and wife who have completed 50 years of living together, they imbibe each other's qualities to such an extent, especially the wife, if she's a chaste wife, she will imbibe a lot of qualities of her good husband. And eventually that imprint becomes so strong, not only in her mind, also in the external features. You can see that, in such harmonious couple who are very elderly, and the wife is very obedient and chaste and worshipping her husband, she almost gets a similar bodily features of her husband also over a period of time. It is noticed. Her nose, eyes, face, more or less, they start looking like sister and brother actually over a period of time. So this kind of a relationship, it is typically, I mean, if somebody is not properly situated, has only one objective, and that objective is to uh, please the husband. I mean, the wife tries to please the husband in all respects. And once the husband is completely, has got pleased or is completely satisfied, then his attraction towards her grows further. And then in that state, he is willing to satisfy all his desires. Uh, just like what do I say? A snake charmer, he can make a snake dance through his, proper rhythm, and the snake can dance to his tune. So similarly, if the relationship of husband and wife is so strong and very loving, and in that situation, the husband will get sold out to the wife, and he is willing to do anything for her. And if this is stronger, in many cases we have seen, the husband can even become a henpecked husband. There's a terminology called henpecked husband. So that is not a good situation to be in, because in that situation, it becomes the other way around. He starts serving her and he starts following her orders. It's the other way around. So this extreme case. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur compares our mind to be like a wife, okay, and the buddhi or intelligence is comparing to husband. So mind being the subordinate of buddhi, okay, is supposed to take instructions from buddhi, and that's how the mind is executing the task. As it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 3.42. Indriyani parani ahur, indrebhya param manah, manashastu para buddhir, yo buddhehe paratastu saha. That means there is a clear hierarchy of who is subordinate and who is. So now, what happens in the reverse situation? Now, suppose if buddhi becomes the subordinate of mind, and mind becomes the subordinate of, let's say, senses, and then sense will eventually become the subordinate of sense objects. Then what happens is it comes completely astray. The senses will start running in all direction, and that will not be a good situation. Now here we see that Kashyapa Muni is a very very advanced person. We know his yogic powers, we know his knowledge also, but yet because he has started loving his wife Diti so much that he is telling her that you ask anything, you ask me anything, and I'll try to fulfill your desires, and I'll give you the benediction or boon or whatever. So in this situation, Diti responds by addressing him as Vardaha. Vardaha means somebody who is a giver of benediction. And who is the topmost benedictor? It is Vardaraj, Vishnu, Krishna himself. There is a famous temple in Kanchipuram called as Ativardar. And here the speciality is that the deity Ativardar is taken out for darshan only once in 40 years. So it happened in 2019, and many devotees thronged there to take darshan and also to seek benedictions. Because Vardaraj Ativardar is a benedictor. And for the remaining 39 years, the Lord goes back into the, is immersed into the, I mean, he's placed under the water. So even devotees go there and they ask for the benediction of becoming better and better devotees or giving them good bhakti. So here, what is the Varda she is asking? What is the benediction she is asking from Kashyap Muni? She says, Putram Indra Hanam. That means I want a son who has to kill Indra. Why? Because she wants to avenge Indra's role, or for Indra, who actually was responsible for killing her two powerful sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, by taking the help of Vishnu. So she wants to basically teach Indra a lesson. Like she feels that Indra thinks that he is too great. So therefore, I want to have a son who is even more powerful than Indra, and eventually he will defeat him, or even he will kill him. So therefore, in this verse, she's also asked for Amrityum. That means she wants a son who will not only be responsible for killing Indra, but she wants him to be Amrityum. So Amrityum means basically somebody who's supposed to be immortal. Or it's also said, as Prabhupada says in this purport, Amara. Amara means somebody who is not Mara, who cannot be killed, or who will not die. Amara. So the real meaning actually, I mean, in one sense it looks like it's Amara, but we know that in the material world, nobody is Amara. Everybody is Mara. But it could be inconceivable. Their lifespan could be inconceivable. So, coming back to this, Diti's desire of getting this kind of son, when let us understand this word Amrityam a little bit more in detail, so that we have a better understanding of what is in the material world as Amrityam and what is in the spiritual as real Amrityam. So when Srila Sukadev Goswami was about to deliver Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj in the banks, because Parikshit Maharaj was going to leave his body in 7 days. So the demigods were very much concerned that how to save Parikshit Maharaj. So they thought that the Amrit pot which they have, which they obtained from the Samudra Manthan, that is the ultimate Amrit. Because by consuming that, or by taking that, or by releasing that, you can get the ultimate liberation. You will almost like you are becoming like immortal. That's why it is Amrit. So they ran and they came there and they told Sukdev Goswami that why don't you give this Amrit to Parikshit Maharaj so that he will not die. So they told this to Sukdev. So Sukdev Goswami laughed at them and he said, you guys, you people, you demigods, you are offenders. You are offenders because I'm about to give some knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj, which is a real Amrit. And what you have is nothing in comparison. So you have no idea what you have brought here and what you are presenting to such a great soul. So he deserves a still better, ultimate Amrit, based on which he will be really Amrityam, Amrityam, or Amara. We know from 1.1.3 in Bhagavatam, Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukhamukadamrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bui bhavukaha. So what does this mean? This means that this is really a mature fruit, nectarian fruit, Bhagavatam, of all the Vedic scriptures put together. And it becomes even more relishable. Sutta Goswami is telling to the sages there, it is becoming even more relishable because it has been tasted by Shukadev Goswami, Shuka. Like when the fruit like guava is tasted by parrot, Shuka, it is said that the sweetness of the guava fruit increases by several folds. So similarly, here the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ultimate Amrit, is being presented to the worthy devotee of the Lord, Srila Parikshit Maharaj, and so he is getting much higher benediction than what the demigods thought, what they brought in the pot. So it is clear that one can become really immortal only by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not by serving this body. This body is mortal. 3-4 years back, there was one article about a very famous one. It said that the world's oldest person has been found in Nepal. So everybody ran there to interview him, all the reporters all over the world, because it was said that he was already 140 years old. So it was amazing because nobody, these days even crosses 70s and 80s. So this person in Nepal was already 140 years. So when all the reporters ran to him and they asked him, you must be so proud that you're 140, you're the oldest in this entire planet. So what is your desire? How long you want to live and what is the secret? So he replied in just one line, I want to die ASAP. Okay, so this is the situation. Actually, the longer one lives, the person realizes that actually it is not a good situation for the soul to be in that body which is becoming worthless day by day. So that brings us to the point to realize, is it really worth to extend the human life than what is already destined? Because the context here is we're talking of Amrityam, Amara, and all those aspects which Diti is aspiring. In this material world, we know that Brahmalok or Satyalok is the topmost planet. So even the secondary creator, Lord Brahma himself, has to vacate his body one day. Now, an ant might think that we are Amrityam or we are Amara, because the ant's life is, matter of time. But are we Amara? Ant might think, but we know we are not Amara. So similarly, we are as insignificant as an ant in front of Brahma, Lord Brahma, because we are just proud of our 100 years of existence, but it is insignificant, or it is totally uh, too minute too minute compared to Lord Brahma. I mean, to put it in perspective, Brahma's one day or 12 hours, there are 14 Manus who come and go, and each Manu's lifespan is 300 million years. Okay, and Brahma's one day is calculated as 1,000 times of the entire Chaturyuga. So Chaturyuga is a summation of all the 4 yugas, which is coming to 4.32 million years. So 1,000 times that, that means 4.32 billion years is Brahma's one day. And similarly his night. That means his 24-hour cycle is 8.64 billion years. Are we able to even conceive this? Not at all. And this 8.64, if you multiply by 7 days of Brahma into 365 days of the year into 100 years of Brahma, that translates to 311 trillion 40 billion years. Can our calculator ever get us this summation, multiplication, etc.? No, never. It will be E plus 15 and something like that will come in the calculator. So we might say that Brahma is Amara, because that is something which is too long a span, and we might think that he is Amrutam. But what does 8.16 say in Bhagavad Gita? Abrahma bhuvana punar avartino arjuna mam upatyatu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. That means right from the topmost planet to the lowest planet, everybody has to die one day. The span would only vary. And again, they will undergo the same birth, death, old age, disease. But the one who has Mam Upatyatu Kaunteya, okay, the one who attains my abode, okay, for him, Punar Janmana Vidyate, he will never be born in this world. That means he is the one who is eternal. That is the real definition of Amara. Now, again, to understand this calculation of this Vedic times versus our modern times, I put it into a tabulation. Now, in the Vedic time, the smallest measurable time is actually Paramanu. Paramanu is a real atom. There is no corresponding measurement of that in the modern time. Then there is Anu. Anu is a double atom or 2 Paramanus. Then there is Trisharenu or hexaatom or 3 Anus. Then there is Truti. Truti is 3 times Trisharenus, 3 Trisharenus. Now modern time calculation starts from here. And what is that time, 8 upon 13,500 of a second. That is Truti. Then there is Veda, which is equivalent to 100 Trutis. So that makes it 8 upon 1/35th of a second. Then there is Lava, which is 3 Vedas. That is 8 upon 45th of a second. Then there is Nimesha. Like in Tamil we say Ur Nimisham. We actually, we are saying 1 Nimisham means we think it is 1 second. But Nimisha actually is 3 Lavas. That translates to 8 by 15th of a second. Then there is Shana. That is 3 times Nimesha. So that is 8 upon 8 by 5 of a second. And then there is Kasta, which is 5 times Kshana, which is 8 seconds. So now it makes sense for us to start measurement from here. Then there is Lagu, which is 15 times Kasta, which is 2 minutes. Then there is Danda, which is 15 times Lagu, which is 30 minutes of our time. Then there is Muhurta, which is 2 times Danda, that is 1 hour of our time. Then there is Prahara, which is 6 times Danda, that is 3 hours. And finally, there is 8 times of Prahara is 1 day and 1 night, which is 24 hours. So you can see that the Vedic time has got more dimensions and more depth inside, which our material calculation of modern time does not have, because there are no gadgets available because of human limitation. Okay, so when we understand that this is the reality, so therefore, is it wise to ask for Amara benediction by Diti to Kashyap Muni as a son? No, it is certainly not, because it seems to be not a wise proposal. Now there are some references in scriptures. We understand from scriptures that there have been good devotees who have asked for the right benedictions also. Okay, like we learned in the third canto how Mother Devuti, after initially enjoying with Kardamuni in her space mansion, and got her desires fulfilled with 9 daughters. But just when Kardamuni was about to leave her, she got the realization that what a big fool I am. I have got such a great, knowledgeable, self-realized husband, and instead of asking him for the right benediction, I just asked him for, to fulfill my desires, and these daughters are eventually going to get married and go away, and I will be left with nothing. So that's when she gets the realization and she meditates to him that at least give me one remembrance of yours, dear sage, who can liberate me from this material bondage. So that is the real benediction. And eventually, yes, 2 minutes, not more. Okay. Yeah. Eventually, Lord himself appeared in her womb as Lord Kapila. Okay. So similarly, we see that even the gopis were chaste to all her husbands. But the moment Krishna was inviting each one of them, even in the middle of the night, they were prepared to leave, abandon their homes and go and attend to Krishna. Okay, so that is the kind of attraction a realized soul gets towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have so many cases. Dhruv Maharaj left his mother in pursuit of Vishnu. Rukmini Devi abandoned the proposal of Shishupal to allow herself to get kidnapped by the Lord himself. Vibhishan abandoned his brother to be with Lord Ram. Bharat Maharaj, King Bharat left his mother Kaikeyi to worship Lord Ram, his glorious brother, and so on and so forth. There are many instructions. These are the benedictions which a realized soul can ask. So these are the kind of lessons we are obtaining from this. So I would like to end here by singing a verse of this great song by our great Acharya Bhaktivedanta Thakur, because here he gives us the essence of what we should be aspiring for. So I will just read one verse of that entire song. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re subai. Krishna das e vishwas, korle to ar dukho nai. बोलबे जाबे पुलक हाबे जोरबे आंखी बोली ताय राधा कृष्ण बोल bolo re subai. So if you understand that spirit soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, you will never have any more sorrows. Chant Hare Krishna, your eyes will be filled with tears and the body will feel the transcendental shivering. So encourage everyone to chant Lord's name and be happy. So with this, I would like to end here, and I will uh, uh, keep it open for any questions or comments, more comments, because I know that I am not really qualified to speak at this level, but I made some attempt, and I hope that especially the Maharajas who are present would be able to guide me properly with corrections wherever required. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful class. Yeah. If anyone is having any question, they can raise the hand and ask. His Grace Shyam Chandra
Some
Prabhuji.
echo is coming, I think, from your side. Yeah.
Yes, Govind Maharaji, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Shukla Sripad. Very nice. So you put a lot of emphasis on what is Amar, like Amarnath. And my question regarding means Diti is asking a son who is for an immortal son. Our Kashyap Muni is venturing to fulfill that desire of hers which is not possible for him. Hopefully he knew or he didn't know. Because even Lord Brahma could not grant this immortality, deathlessness to Hiranyakashipu or any other person. So how evolved Kashyap Muni is from that point of view? Or just as Lord Brahma granted other benedictions to Hiranyakashipu, making him think that he can think that he is immortal now. He cannot be killed by human being or animal, inside, outside. All these conditions, still he was ultimately tricked by his own intelligence, mundane intelligence. In the same way, maybe Kashyap Muni was just trying to entertain her, making her have the solace that she will have an immortal son. Of course, Prabhupada gives the definition of immortal equal to status of demigods. But my question is, you quoted the total lifespan of Lord Brahma. I mean, that's a very, 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 very long lifespan. So many opportunity Lord Brahma gets to attain the absolute or the supreme. But those who are become stuck in the ignorance of impersonal liberation, just as described that those who are killed by the Supreme Lord and those who aspire for Brahma Sukha, they attain that same destination. How long can that last? Because if that is not the supreme destination, how long they have to continue? Is there something for their ultimate good? Because Krishna being most merciful to everyone, hopefully nobody becomes eternally condemned. Can you throw some light on that time span, or what is how they ultimately get the supreme destination. Because Bhagavatam describes in 10, 14, 26 that Agyana Sankhyo Bhavabandha Moksha, even moksha, the liberation, is also ignorance. You know? How long it takes, or is there a situation where they can really attain the true Amaratva? Even that impersonal liberation can also be called Amaratva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much. My limited understanding on this matter, I will try to explain in my way. So just as we understand that in the material world, in the material universe, the highest lifespan possible or achievable is only by Lord Brahma. And this is defined as 311 trillion 40 billion years. That's phenomenal. I mean, we can't even think about it. So we know that as we go higher and higher, I mean, this is from our wisdom, we come to know, when we go even in the heavenly planets, higher and higher planets, the lifespan actually increases till the point it reaches to Satyalok, where Brahma is having this lifespan. So we can use this limited knowledge yardstick to understand that when one goes beyond this and enters into the effulgence or merging, as we say, in the Brahman effulgence, then the lifespan, okay, is as good as immortal, as good as. But why we are not saying completely immortal? Because, I mean, it's too minute for us even to speculate, because it goes to the situation of when and how the person is going to again attain his Swarup Siddhi. Now, we understand that in the Brahman realization or the impersonal realization, the person is merged into the effulgence. So merging would give him as good as eternity. Okay. In fact, the three aspects, as we say, Sat Chit Ananda. So what would be, he'll be deprived of Ananda, because Ananda comes only when there is a service facility available. Chitta is also the next stage. So here he would be basically eternal, and it could be, it could be unending actually. From our frame of reference, it could be unending. So to say that if the point of discussion is only on the Amara or Amrityum, then that can be achieved even at impersonal level, as per my understanding. But the other two things would not be visible. The complete realization of Paramatma or Brahma, Bhagwan realization will not be accessible to them. So therefore we say it is incomplete. It is only partial realization. But that part of the realization is available to them. So that person who is achieving impersonal liberation, he will be definitely there eternal. So in one sense, it is a dangerous situation. At least in Brahma's case, after 311 trillion and 40 billion years, he can still come to a stage of going back home, back to Godhead. I mean, when we say that, we are actually mentioning Krishna Loka or Goloka or beyond Vaikuntha Loka. But in impersonal liberation, because it is impersonalism is also part of spiritual realm. So, and spiritual realm is never, according to my knowledge, it is never annihilated. It cannot be annihilated. Only material realms are, destroyed and again manifested, unmanifested and manifested. So it will be impossible to speculate. I would say it will be like, eternal. In no way it would be inferior to the ultimate, but the realization part, yes, they are lacking, and that is not a good thing. It's quite possible in that situation when you are in the spark, you are dissatisfied, because how long you will be happy without doing anything. So the dissatisfaction might get you some mercy to come back to the Bhurloka, and then again get association of Vaishnavas and then go back home. This is possible, Maharaj. This is my understanding.
The question was, when the Vedas said tamaso ma jyotirgama, correct? So impersonal liberation is the ultimate tamas, because Krishna kills the demons. Do they become eternally condemned, or there is a way out from there? That's why my direct question. And what happens? What happens to the whole cosmos after 311 trillion years, when the dissolution, the Purna Pralay? What happens? What is the situation of all of us,
Jivas,
and compared to those who aspired for those who have got impersonal liberation? What is there any difference?
Yes, there is a difference. See, when we say the annihilation of the material universe, it means, I mean, we are talking of the complete annihilation at the end of Brahma's lifetime. So all the jivas would go back into into Vishnu's body, and they will remain there till once again the once again the pradhan is glanced, and then once again Mahatattva is created, and Prakriti is, so till that time, and so they will go with the existing set of desires, or the same mind, and when they come out, when Lord Krishna is once again exhaling, or Vishnu is exhaling, so at that time the same desires, whatever he went, it will be manifested in the right planets. Whereas when it comes to Brahmand, the Brahmand will not go into, according to my knowledge, okay, it's not, because it's not part of material universe. So there's no way that it can go into, so it will continue to exist, because that is the effulgence of the body of the Lord, no? So how can it get vanish? It cannot. It's the effulgence. It's like when sun disappears, only then the sun rays will go. If sun is existing, then the sun rays will continue to exist. So Brahmand will exist always. It's a effulgence of the body of the Lord.
Yeah, there are two more questions, so maybe we can proceed further.
But if Maharaj wants to add something before that, I'm,
we are trying to restrict the comments, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Haripad Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for a nice class. So I have just one query. You mentioned that in this present age, unlike this other ages, like these wives, they used to worship the husband as the representative of the Lord Vasudeva. So in the present age, it is not possible. So what is the reason? Means, what is that? Why it is not possible? Like, is that the husband, so husbands become unqualified, or is it the Vedic principles, they are dependent on time, place, and circumstances? So what is the reason? How will you understand this?
Yeah, good question, actually, more practical question in my opinion. See, because in the olden age, the husbands always held the position of a guide to the wife. There used to be some age gaps also, big age gaps also used to be there. So the husband used to be very learned, knowledgeable in Shastras, and that was the guiding principle based on which the wife, by following, if can get all the good virtues, like yesterday Sham Kishore Prabhu said, 50% of the virtues of all the good things is transferred automatically to the wife, because as per scriptures, wife on or her own does not have the capability to get the virtues. So she has to depend upon the husband, or maybe the son, okay, or father. Now in the modern age, what is happening is, in this era, especially what we are seeing is that what is driving force is not the scriptural knowledge, but maybe the academic knowledge, and maybe your guna and karma. That means what activities you're doing, your name, fame, position, all those things. So the wife is choosing the husband for these reasons, not for the reasons that he is elevated spiritually. Now, in that situation, what happens is there is a consideration of equality. And as a result, the moment equality comes, I will respect you as long as you respect me. I will not take the position of the subordinate. I am earning, you are earning. I am earning more than you. So it becomes like more of a cooperation in a for a given circumstances situation. But that is not the real love. So there is no love actually here. This is just a adjustment of the situation. And also, as you said, other factor is the husband also is not qualified to be able to get to that position where the wife respects him. So this is more the situation. So as a result, these are all Kali Yuga symptoms, and it will deteriorate further. It's mentioned also how the wife will start choosing the husband in future. That also is mentioned.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. We have one more question. Let it be short and
Okay.
I request, yeah, Srikant Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Actually, the question to be asked by me has already been answered by Your Grace and by Maharaj. Just to very quickly, do you think we should redefine death? Because body is already dead. Body never dies. Body is already dead, and the soul also never dies. So what dies? So what is death? So, and in that, if we redefine death, then we can definitely redefine Amrit Tattva also. So, could you please throw some light? And so, I'm pretty sure you must be having an answer. You can make an attempt. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Actually, your question itself had an answer in it. So there is no need to redefine. It is already there. I mean, Bhagavad Gita says everything about that, isn't it? That we are Atma, and so we are eternal. It's a question of having the right understanding, Prabhu. So the more knowledge we get, and the more we, I think in one of your classes you said Gyan and Vigyan. These two have to go hand in hand. If the Vigyan is not done in sync with the Gyan, then it does not really get the realization part. So Gyan is already given in the scriptures. By serving Vaishnavas, by serving our spiritual master, we get the Vigyan part of it. And then our conviction grows even more stronger by serving our Guru. So then we say that, oh, this is what actually it is mentioned there, and now I'm realizing it also. So it's all about realization. In one line, if you say it's all about realization, nothing needs to be redefined. It is all there. It is just that we are covering with a blanket our knowledge, we are covering ourselves. Sometimes it is voluntary, sometimes it is ignorance. So it is just that we have to come to that realization part, and once we come to the realization, we know that okay, this is that abhaya, that fearlessness comes, the soul's properties are manifested, and then we don't worry about death anymore. Then this is my understanding.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Maybe we can conclude for the day.
Okay, thank you all for patiently participating, and please forgive me in case if there is any mistake committed, or please pray for me that I can do better service next time. Vancha kalpaturu vyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Shripad Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nityananda Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
His Grace Shyamchandra Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna.